Question of the day: which one makes better sense for your wireless audio needs? The DJI Mic Mini or the Hollyland Lark M2? Let's talk about it. Hey, if this is your first time coming to the channel, I'd like to welcome you. This is Lessons Learned with Cameras. My name is Willie. So I just recently purchased the DJI Mic Mini when it was released to the public. I've owned the Lark M2 for quite some time, or at least since its original release date to the public. But full disclosure, I purchased both of these microphones outright with my own money. So this is truly my own opinion, and no manufacturer have no influence whatsoever over what I'm going to discuss in this video and my opinion about either one of the microphones. So with that being said, the first thing we're going to talk about is some of the similarities and differences with these microphones, but we're going to go over the content that comes with each of them first. First being the DJI Mic Mini. The Mic Mini comes with the receiver, 2 transmitters, the charging case, carrying pouch, 2 magnet clips, the mobile phone adapter, 4 windscreens, the camera audio cable, and the USB-C charging cable. While the Lark M2 comes with 2 transmitters, 1 receiver, charging case, 2 windscreens, USB-A to USB-C cable, USB-C to USB-C cable, USB-C to Lightning cable, 2 necklaces, 2 back clips, 2 magnets, 3.5 TRS to 3.5 TRS cable, drawstring bag, and some cool stickers. On to the similarities. Both of the mics are lightweight, small, and discreet. One looks like a circular button and the other looks like a shape of a little square. They both have 2 levels of noise reduction, and they both come with a phone app for changing settings and firmware updates, but neither one of them can record internal audio. On to the differences. Just going to knock this out real quick. The DJI Mic Mini has a maximum battery life of 48 hours with the charging case, whereby the Lark M2 has a maximum life of 40 hours. The DJI Mic Mini has a maximum transmission range of 400 meters, whereby the Lark M2 has a maximum range of 300 meters. Now keep in mind, this is straight line of sight with no obstructions in the way. With the DJI Mic Mini, you can go into the app and you can enable a safety track for recording audio that protects you from clipping and distortion. The Lark M2 doesn't have that option. The DJI Mic Mini's transmitters can be synced up to the Pocket 3, the Osmo Action 4, and the Osmo Action 5 Pro. Obviously, the Lark M2 doesn't have a feature like that. You have to use the receiver with the transmitter to transmit audio through whatever your video recording device is. And last but not least, let's talk about the price. At the time of making this video, the DJI Mic Mini came in at $169, and the Lark M2 is currently coming in at $125. You're talking about close to a $50-ish price difference. I guess it comes down to, what are you getting for that extra $50, or what are you missing out on for not paying the extra $50 if that's important to you? Something to think about. But what we're going to do right now, I'm going to go ahead and take this outside, and we're going to do just a quick test, and then come in and do a studio test, and then we'll wrap it up with final thoughts. Okay, so I'm outside going to do a quick field test just in the backyard. Right now, I'm currently running the ZV-10 Mark II with the Hollyland Lark M2. That's on my right, your left. And on my left, your right, I'm running the FX30 with the DJI Mini attached to it. How does that sound for sound quality? Also too, right now there's no noise reduction being ran at all on either the receivers or transmitters. So you kind of get to see how that sounds. I purposely took the wind muffs off, and I'll tell you why. Because yesterday I tried to do this same test with the wind muffs attached, and I must have accidentally hit one of the buttons. But long story short, I ended up activating the noise reduction on the Lark M2 for the whole entire test. Most of that my fault. You know, I should have checked it in the app before I started recording. I didn't do that. So the cautionary tale I would tell you to take away from that is this: whenever you're using, especially transmitters this small, you know, you probably, if an app's, you know, comes with it, it's included, I would definitely check and see what the settings are ahead of time before I start recording. because there's no indicators really on here. Yes, there's LED lights, whether they're going to be blue or green for when you activate noise reduction or whatnot. But if the sun's out, it's really hard to lock in on that and see it. And especially if you got a wind muff on top of it, it's even harder. So that's just one of my little gripes with using transmitters this small. Would I want to trade it to go back to using my Rode Wireless Go 2? Probably not. That's like a little mini brick on you. It pulls your shirt down and all that. I mean, if audio quality all being equal straight across the board with all my wireless mics, I still would choose to use something with a form factor like the Lark M2 or the DJI Mini, just because it's more small, it's discreet. So again, personal preference. Me personally, I'm not a big noise reduction, fan. I don't like it just because a lot of times, yeah, sure, it takes away the ambient noises, and then my voice sounds real tinny. So that's a lot harder for me to correct in post than it is for me just to shoot with no noise reduction and just handling that in post with utilizing like voice isolation or something like that in Final Cut. So I don't know. Again, it's just a preference. It's whatever helps your workflow. But what we're going to do right now, I'm going to go ahead and activate and turn on both the noise reduction on the Lark M2 and on the DJI Mini. We're going to see how that sounds. And this is with noise reduction on. Now on the Lark M2, I have it on weak. They have weak and strong. I think that's what the two words are, low and high. So right now this is on the lowest setting. On the DJI Mini, it's the first level of noise reduction. I don't know for sure if there's two levels on here or not. I want to say there is, but anyway, this is activating the first level of noise reduction. How does that sound? There's not a lot of ambient noises around me. There's just a little bit, but I don't know if you could hear that and you could see how that sound in relationship to that. Now, what I can say, when I went to switch these over, switching to noise reduction on the Lark M2 is fairly simple in the app. The only downfall, I guess, to it is you have to hook the receiver itself back up to your phone, and then obviously the app will recognize the receiver, and then you can do any adjustments you need to do. Whereby with the DJI Mini, I could link, or I can hook my transmitters up to the app, but I think I'm missing a piece to that. In my little case, I only had the attachment for the receiver, the USB-C attachment for the receiver itself. I didn't have a USB-C, or I didn't have an attachment on the receiver that could hook to a lightning port. Yes, my iPhone is a little bit old, it's the 13, so I'm still using lightning port. There's another slot in the little case for it. I'm assuming that's what it's for, but mine didn't have one in there. So again, and if it did have one, maybe I lost it. I don't know. Don't understand how I would lose it that quick, considering I just got this. But that's just something to take in consideration. Like I said, the Lark M2 the Lark 2 wasn't that bad connecting it up for noise reduction. DJI Mini was a little bit fidgety, but again, that can just be attested to operator error. I wouldn't really blame DJI for that. But anyway, this is what you got for noise reduction on the first setting. And this is level 2 noise reduction on the Lark M2 and the DJI Mini. How does that sound for sound quality? I think I found how to adjust it to level 2 on the DJI Mini. Lark 2 is, again, pretty simple once you hook it into the app. But this is what you get for sound quality. I don't know if it's dampening it. Yesterday when I made this mistake, I must say, again, without putting this through post yet, the Lark M2 sounded pretty good with noise reduction on. Since it was on the whole time, I was able to hear that. And it kind of shocked me that it wasn't all tinny like I thought it was going to be for my voice. Did a good job canceling out all the sound around me. But again, once I put this in post, I'll know for sure if I was able to replicate that again. But this is what you get for noise reduction. So for this, I'm just going to do a quick modified distance test just from my back porch down to my shed. And we're going to see how the signal holds for that. Now I'm walking right now with my back between the transmitters on my body and the receivers on both cameras, just to see if the sound holds up or seeing if it drops off. I already know definitely with the Lark M2 shouldn't have a problem with this. I've done this test before. With the DJI Mini, I don't foresee that being a problem either, just because I want to say the DJI Mini is rated at 400 meters, which is around, I don't know, like 1,300 feet. And the Lark M2 is rated, I think, at 300 meters, which is about 1,000 feet. And in all actuality, this is only about 75 feet from the back porch of my house to the shed. So I'm pretty sure it held up for this. If not, then definitely there would be an issue with both these mics if they didn't. Realistically, I don't ever see myself being this far away from my cameras. That's just not one of my shooting scenarios. Don't know too many people it is, but I don't know. I mean, I think if you're going to shoot like this, you're going to need a person to be back there with the cameras. But for most of us, I mean, I don't really see us being this far away, but this is what would be ideally the farthest that I would ever want to be, away from the cameras, still be within like eyesight of them. So this is what you get for this. And again, this is with my back is turned away from both cameras, and this is me back forward again. And that's the distance test. And oh, by the way, I put both of the transmitters are back on no noise reduction at all. So just thought I'd throw that out there. And again, that's what you get for that. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and go back in. Going to do a quick studio test just to see how it sounds in the studio, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, so for this test, right now I'm shooting in my spooky studio from my other channel, but I wanted to pick an area that was more open that I can conduct this test in. In front of me, I'm on the FX30 with the DJI Mic Mini attached to it. No noise reduction. And on the FX3 over here, I have the Hollyland Lark M2 also with no noise reduction. So this is kind of to give you an idea of what you would get for a sound in a room that's not treated. Now, keep in mind, this is in my basement, and like we have the central heat running and so forth. But what I'm going to do for the noise reduction test, I'm going to turn on the space heater that's in the corner just to see if it can drown, if it can dampen the sound and how that turns out, or what the outcome of that is. Okay, so both noise reductions are enabled to the fullest. The DJI Mic Mini in front of me is on level 2, and then the Hollyland Lark M2 is on the strongest level for that level 2. So how does that sound? So in closing, I'm trying to make this sweet and simple. If all things being equal when it comes down to the audio quality, in the audio quality alone, I think the decision would be made from a subjective standpoint, meaning it's just going to be a personal preference. I felt that both the audio's quality was on par with one another. I couldn't really find a difference in it. But I would say this much. If you are already in the Osmo ecosystem, meaning if you own the Pocket 3, the Osmo Action 4, or the Osmo Action 5 Pro, it probably makes better sense to go with the DJI Mic Mini because you're already in the ecosystem, and nothing beats it to have, transmitters that can sync up to the device without a receiver. So that's a no-brainer when it comes to that. Now, I would say if you have no desire to ever enter the DJI Osmo ecosystem and you want to save a couple of dollars, you can go with the Lark M2. But I will say this much, when it comes to some of the cons or the shortcomings with both the devices, I'll discuss the Lark M2 first. One of the cons that I had was with that freaking wind muff. When you put that wind muff on, you don't know what direction that mic is facing. It could be horizontally, vertical. It could be facing the side, either one of your left or right sides. So because because the wind muff covers the entire transmitter itself, you really don't know. So you have to take the time and make sure you place it first before you do anything else. And secondly, with that is once that wind muff is covering the whole entire transmitter, you don't know if you hit one of the buttons to turn on the noise reduction or whatnot. Now, the workaround to that is you got the app. You can go in the app and disable it first, and then that way you don't run the risk and accidentally hitting one of the buttons on the transmitter to activate the noise reduction. So that's my biggest gripe with the Lark M2. My gripe with the DJI Mini is the fact that same thing, it's a small fidgety device, real small on your chest. And with that being said, running the risk and hitting noise reduction. Again, you can go on the app, you can disable it. The other thing with the Mic Mini, and again, this is me being very petty about it, but when you compare it to the form factor and the form factor of the Lark M2, when I put the Lark 2 against my chest, it's laying flush against my chest. It's not sticking out or poking out. It's not having that tendency to pull my shirt down like most of the little brick transmitters like the Rode Wireless goes or like that. So it runs the risk in doing that. If you're wearing a light shirt or something, it will, pull on it a little bit. But again, that's just me being, over petty with it. I would say none of those issues are deal killers for neither one of them. But I'm just saying that those are just some of the issues that I noticed. It's a hard decision. I think it is. If there was only one that you had to get, like I said, I'm happy with both of them. And I think in the end, what it will come down to, if all else fails, it's just going to come down to brand loyalty, which is a personal preference. Some people feel more loyal to DJI because they have other products with them. They trust the products, the reliability. Some people trust Hollyland products because they have a history of having products with them. So again, I've never had a problem with neither one of them. And I own the Mic 2. I own plenty of DJI products. And I own the Hollyland Lark M1. No issues with that one either. So I can't really say brand loyalty would be the deciding factor for me. But like I said, someone out there, you hear the name DJI, you're going to probably want to go towards that over Hollyland, because Hollyland, is not as popular of a brand as DJI is. But again, like I said, I think a lot of it is based off of from a subjective standpoint. That's pretty much it for this video. If you felt this video was informative, can you drop a like? If you like videos like this and you want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.